The Braiins Mini Miner is a home Bitcoin miner for hobbyists and curious individuals that want to dip their toes into Bitcoin mining at home. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to set up and use the Braiins Mini Miner and how to both get Lightning payouts directly into your own Bitcoin Lightning wallet, or how to use the Braiins Mini Miner as a forever lottery ticket in solo mining. I am Ben with the BTC Sessions, and this is your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
Bitcoin Well is on a mission to enable independence by being one of the easiest and quickest ways to purchase Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And the best part about it, every buy goes directly into your own self-custody. They never hold your coins. You can add a Bitcoin address as part of onboarding. There's a transparent 1% spread, no hidden fees, no withdrawal fees. Plus they have KYC free sells and bill payments on their website. They're also a publicly traded company under the ticker BTCW on the TSXV. Check them out over at bitcoinwell.com. Check out my full tutorial on how to use them, and you can check out the links in the show notes down below and sign up today. Speed Wallet is a Bitcoin Lightning wallet built with simplicity in mind. Spend and receive with ease, claim your own Lightning address, shop your favorite gift cards, and even earn rewards when you spend. Head over to speed.app to download the app on your mobile or desktop today and use the link down below to get 5,000 sats for free and have the chance to win even more. So let's start with some prerequisites. What are you going to need to know in order to successfully navigate this tutorial? Well, first off, let's start with the hardware that we're going to be using. This is braiins.com, Braiins with 2 I's, and we're dealing with the Braiins Mini Miner. However, the version that I have is actually not the one shown here. They did have one called the 100, and they sold those out, and they're currently shipping out or pre-ordering the 101, which is actually obviously better than the one that I have. It's got a few additional features like Wi-Fi and so on and so forth. The only additional thing you're going to need is an Ethernet cable that you're going to just plug into your router. Or again, if you're dealing with Wi-Fi, there will be an option for you to do that if you get the newer version. The other thing we're going to demo is being able to mine and get Lightning payouts directly to your own Lightning wallet. And so for that example, we're going to be using Braiins Pool. This is a mining pool where you pool your contributions to mining Bitcoin with a whole bunch of others, kind of like if you were to enter a lottery with a whole bunch of other people and then divvy up the winnings based on how much you contributed. That's the same idea here. And we'll get into how to set that up, but more or less it's a login with an email and a password, and then a few additional setups beyond that. For our payout wallet, the demo today, I'll be using Speed Wallet. I've done a full tutorial on them. You can check them out down below, but it's pretty simple, probably one of the simplest quick options out there, and that's why we're using those today. And then in terms of turning the mini miner into a little bit of a lottery ticket, and we'll get into exactly what I mean by that. But solo mining, we're going to just simply be using solo.ckpool.org. You don't need to know a lot about that. All you'll need to use with this is any Bitcoin wallet of your choice where you can get a regular Bitcoin address. And so for the example today, I'll be using Sparrow Wallet on my desktop. I have a full tutorial on them as well. Both of those will be linked in the show notes down below. With that, that's pretty much it. If you're going to solo mine, you just need a Bitcoin wallet. If you're going to mine directly to your own Lightning wallet and get small payouts that way, well, then you're going to be using Braiins Pool and the Lightning wallet of your choice, but we'll be using Speed Wallet today. And I think that's pretty much it. If I missed anything else that we do touch on, if I use a different app or something like that, expect a tutorial to be listed for anything like that in the show notes down below. And with that, let's dive into a little bit of the why. Why would you want to go and use the Braiins Mini Miner. So right out the gate, I want to say that do not expect to be making money with a Braiins Mini Miner. That, I would say, is not the main reason you would be buying one of these, especially if you're living in a city and you're paying local power rates and all that. It's not going to be a profitable endeavor to grab one of these. So that then begs the question, why would you run a Braiins Mini Miner? And there are a number of different reasons. This is very much I'll call it a hobbyist device. And so it's going to be well suited to those that are very curious about how Bitcoin works, how mining works. And it's an excellent hobbyist device to get started very simply and just kind of learn the ins and outs of how do I set up a miner? How do I actually link it to a Bitcoin wallet that I own? How do I see payouts? So number one, that's going to be a reason why you might want to run one of these devices. Secondly, is the idea of contributing to the decentralization of Bitcoin mining. When large pools of Bitcoin miners get together, there are various pools that you can plug into, and those pools can have some say over what transactions get through on the Bitcoin network. Now, there are lots of different pools out there, and you can freely migrate between them. So if one was doing something shady that you didn't like, then potentially you could just choose to move elsewhere. But it is still a great idea to try and mitigate those centralizing factors. And so as a solo Bitcoin miner, you would be contributing to the decentralization of that Bitcoin hash rate. The other thing that you might consider doing is joining a mining pool where you can choose your own block templates, which would be a mining pool running something called Stratum V2. And we'll dive into a little bit more about that when we take a look at Braiins Pool and all that kind of stuff. But that is another way of going about that. Now, third, what I'll say in around solo mining is you can treat that as a bit of a forever lottery ticket. And what that means is rather than doing the lottery pool style where everybody, well, a lot of people join together, and so it's more frequent that somebody in that group wins and then you split up the proceeds altogether. Rather than doing that, you can use one of these machines and mine solo, meaning you're just a person throwing your hat in the ring every single time that a Bitcoin block gets mined with a slim but potential payout that could massively outsize the cost of your device. So, a few $100 on a device, and you stand to potentially, if you were to hit a block, get 3+ Bitcoin as a reward, which would be pretty nice. Don't bank on it, but if you're already somebody who goes and grabs a lotto ticket every week, then maybe you could replace that habit with something like this, where one, you're contributing to a network, but two, you're also just always having a Bitcoin lottery ticket sitting there on your shelf. And then the other reason that you might want to run this, just in general, as a kind of bonus of having it on your desk here, is that it becomes a bit of a Bitcoin clock for you. So you can have things like the block height and your hash rate and mining stats and the Bitcoin price and all of that. It's a good conversation piece and a nice little decorative piece for your shelf. So a variety of different things, I would say, the least of which is I'm going to always be making a profit, because that is not the reason you're going to grab one of these. So if the aforementioned reasons pertain to you, then this may be right up your alley. But anyways, we're going to dive in. We're going to take a look at setting the device up, and then we'll move on to seeing the dashboard on our computer. All right, so we have our Braiins Mini Miner right here. And yes, you can see the front panel here. There's an LCD screen, and it is deceptive because this thing is actually quite long. And this is, again, the 100 version, which is sold out. Their new version is coming out, the 101. And there's a couple differences there. But let's take a look at this device here again. Of course, we've got the screen on the front. But when I turn it sideways, it is indeed quite long. I've already affixed the little rubber feet to the bottom. But the only buttons, there's the grill on top for the fan, but the back is kind of where we need to look at just to get our bearings here. So what do you have? You've got an SD card slot. This is mainly for updates, things like that. We won't need to worry about that off the hop. You also have a port for the power supply. You've got a button that says IP port, more on that in a second. And then we've got the Ethernet cable port here, and then some lights and a reset button, which is recessed in. You'd need to get a pin or something to hold that down. The IP report button, what's that for? Well, at the offset, when you first plug this in, it will show you an IP address, which you're going to type into your browser to be able to access this on your home network. It also has a QR code that you can scan for the same reason, but that goes away after about 20 seconds. So if you need to see that again, that's the button that you're going to go to. Factory reset, obviously, you hold that for, I believe, around 10 seconds, and it resets the whole device. And that's pretty much it. Now, in the box came the power cable. So I'll just put this down here. The power cable in two pieces. So there's the big block here, and obviously this one goes into the port we saw at the back. And then we have this piece, which plugs into the block here. And then, of course, that goes into the wall. The only other thing that you're going to need to supply is an Ethernet cable, which, again, obviously just plugs into the back where the port is. The other end of which will go directly into your router, and that will give you your internet. The new version, the 101, will be Wi-Fi capable. I believe this one is not. And so we're basically just going to plug all this in together, plug it into the router, and then plug it into the wall, and we'll be off to the races. And we'll take a look at what the front of this device looks like with that IP address. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll overlay it right here, but you'll get a look at what you need to type in to your browser in order to access the operating system on this device and begin to set up all your settings. So with that, let's jump over to the browser and take a look at Braiins OS. So now that we're all plugged in and ready to go, and the Braiins Miner is plugged in to my router, I can go on any computer or phone, for that matter, in my home, and I can plug in the IP address that showed up on the front screen of my Braiins Miner. Or I could have just scanned that QR code and my local device would find it. But basically, I've typed that in my browser right here, gone to that URL, and it loads the login screen for Braiins OS. Now, when you first get this device, the username will be root, LROOT, and the password will be blank. And when you've put that, you can tap login, and it should take you to the dashboard. All right, so here we are on the Braiins OS dashboard. Let's do an overview of this before we change any settings here. So looking over at our Braiins OS dashboard, I'm going to get myself off the screen so you can see the whole thing here. But let's take a quick peek around. So there are three tabs up top: dashboard, configuration, and system. Down below, we have a handy dandy chart that gives us some stats on the hash rate and temperature of our device. And now the hash rate, you can also see over in the top right-hand side, one of the little blocks there. Hash rate is a measure of more or less in the lottery system that is Bitcoin mining, how many guesses are you making per second as measured by hashes towards guessing correctly a Bitcoin block and winning the Bitcoin reward. So how much are you contributing to that lottery system? We also, beside that, see the temperature, the chip temperature on the device. We see our estimated efficiency, which is measured in how many watts per terahash are you using, and then our power usage right next to that. We also have our pool status. We're not connected to a pool right now, which means we're not hashing or doing anything like that. Tuner status, all that. And our fan monitor, which it's not really running right now because we're not hashing, so we don't need to cool off the device. And we see lots of other stats to the same degree of what we've just gone over. For the chart here, you can actually zero in on just hash rate or just temperature if you click on those tabs. Let's check out configuration here. So this is where you can add your pools, and we'll be using this in a moment to contribute to Braiins Pool as a test. We can look at performance, and this is where you're able to target certain wattages and everything like that. Not necessary in this particular case. Same for cooling. If you want to turn on the fans at certain temperatures and off and all that kind of stuff, you don't need to do that. Although I did play around with this when I made a space heater out of an old S9 miner. So if you want to see that, that will be linked in the show notes down below if you're curious about using a miner as a heater. And then finally, let's check out system. So under system, you've got things like your color theme, so light or dark theme, your local language, your local time zone, which I will change momentarily. You can also add a password. Remember, it was blank for us, so you just type in it and repeat it down below and save it to change. And then host name, we'll get into that momentarily. There's also some settings over on the left here. So the mini miner screen, you can set it to either be Bitcoin clock, aka what block are we on, or Mining Geek, which has a whole bunch of different stats. You can set the brightness here. You can also do night mode, which will turn off the screen at certain times and back on. And you can set your clock to 24 or 12 hour. Network, again, don't need to worry about. It is hardwired in. Of course, this would be different if you have the newer version with Wi-Fi. Any logs, errors, anything like that will pop up here. You can also upgrade over on the left, and this is where you would download the latest version of Braiins OS. You would select that file and then hit upload to upgrade. And then there's also a reset. I'm not going to do that right now, obviously, but you can reset it from the dashboard here. There's also the factory reset button on the back of the device that we already saw. So with all that established, it's time to actually begin hashing with our device. And we're going to do that utilizing, for the first little bit, hashing to Braiins OS to our own Lightning wallet. So this is braiins.com/pool, and up in the top right-hand side, there's a sign up button where you can register with just an email address and a password. Now, I have already done so. I've used Braiins Pool in previous videos, like my space heater one. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump to my dashboard, which is already logged in. I don't currently have anything hashing here. And so we're going to navigate around Braiins Pool and figure out how to connect our hardware to this pool. So on my screen here, I have 3 tabs up top: mining, funds, and history. We're currently on mining, so let's investigate that first. The dashboard here will show you your workers and if they're on or offline. I've previously done a couple mining videos, and so I have 2 previous miners that I demoed here that are not currently running. So that's why you're seeing the little exclamation point. Otherwise, those would be green if they were currently running. And then down below, we get a measure of our hash rate, a nice little graph there. And you can scroll down, and this is where you would see your rewards. Are you earning Bitcoin as you go. You can also see pool statistics and things like that. Now, over on the left-hand side, if I click on workers, this is where you can see any miners that you currently have hooked up to the pool. Again, we see previous ones that I had here, but they're both currently offline. They're not set to be mining through Braiins. And there's the option with the blue button to connect new workers. We'll be using that momentarily. You also have a monitoring tab. It'll keep track of hash rate and all that here. There'll be a rewards tab where you can see today's mining rewards and profitability and just stats about what you're earning, so on and so forth, your hash rate. And then finally, settings. So any tags that you want, so you can connect new workers. If you want to split payments between multiple accounts, all of that can be set here in the settings, all ready to go. Now, up at the top, let's go to the tabs. Let's go to funds. And funds, this is where you set your payouts. Where do you want to get paid to? And so you see an old payout address that I clicked here. I just called it Bitcoin account. And just got an on-chain address that I used for a couple of those demo videos. However, you can also get paid out via Lightning, and we will set that up as we go. And finally, and wallets here, by the way, you can click on and you can add a new wallet, so on and so forth. And we have disabled wallets there as well. Anything that you've previously used that you don't want to anymore. And yeah, that is pretty much it. And then over at history, again, a roundup of your rewards history, your payouts history, activity history, all of that can be found there. And so with that, let's get the appropriate information to get hashing with our Braiins Mini Miner. So to connect our Braiins Miner, we need two things pulled up. Of course, Braiins Pool, because we want to connect it there. That's where we're going to get the appropriate information to give to our miner. And then we're also going to need our dashboard for our Braiins Mini Miner, which is currently running but not hashing. So we're going to be grabbing some info over here at Braiins Pool. Okay, so let's go over. We're on the mining tab. We're going to click on workers on the left-hand side. And we're going to click on the blue Connect Workers button. And this gives us some information. Now, before we mentioned Stratum v1 versus Stratum v2. Stratum v2 allows individuals to choose their own block templates. What types of transactions are you going to permit or omit from a block if you were to mine it? And this is an important update. And, I firmly believe that a lot of these mining pools need to implement this. Now, will some or will some not? Well, we've already seen some have not really prioritized it, but I'm glad this is here as an option on Braiins Pool. So I'm going to have that clicked, but yeah, we're going to configure our mining device. So what we need is we need this string of information right here, which we can just copy. And then our user ID will be BTC sessions dot whatever we want to call this device. I'll call it BMM for Bitcoin Mini Miner. And then our password can be anything that we want. So I'll have a password that I set that up. And I'm not connected yet. So I need this information and I need to go over to my dashboard. And we want to go to configuration. And we're already on pools. So this is on my Braiins OS dashboard for the actual miner sitting on the shelf behind me. Okay, so we're going to hit add new pool. We're going to paste in the info we just got over at our Braiins Pool website. The username, as it said, was going to be BTC sessions dot whatever we want to call this device. I'm going to call it BMM. And then we're going to give it a handy little password, and we'll add that in a second. Okay, so now I've saved everything here. So I have the pool URL, the username, and the password, and that is all set up. So I'm going to go back to my Braiins Pool. I'm going to hit connected, go back. So I hit the little refresh button here and I can see my BMM and I don't yet have a hash rate. So we're going to jump back over here to our Braiins OS. Let's go back to the dashboard and see what's going on so far. We can see things start to happen. I see a real hash rate popping up. I see the temperature of the chip going up and I see the fan beginning to kick on and cool things off. So we are indeed now hashing. Well, that's great news. So our device is beginning to actually mine, but we've set it up to mine, but we haven't yet set it up to actually pay out to us. And given that this is a home miner and that's a hobbyist thing, again, we've got two options here. We've got the option of connecting to a Lightning wallet for regular payouts that will be, of course, small. Or we have the option of having this as a solo miner that will get payouts only if we ever hit a block by ourselves and get a big lottery reward. So we're going to start with the Lightning option so that we can see it popping into our wallet. And then from there, we'll go into solo mining. So let's jump into how to set up your own Lightning wallet with Braiins Pool. CoinKite.com has some of the best hardware on the market today to secure your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and is my daily driver. And on top of this, they have plenty of other goodies, including the Mark IV, the Tap Signer, Open Dimes, the Block Clock, and much more. If you head over to their website, make sure you use code BTC Sessions at checkout to get a nice discount. Links are in the show notes down below. Debify.com allows you to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Collateral is held in a 3 of 4 distributed multisig with trusted parties. It provides institutional liquidity providers, loan periods of up to 5 years with flexible conditions and the best rates. And best of all, no rehypothecation of your funds. If you want to check them out today, head over to Debify.com or hit the link in the show notes down below. Keeper is a mobile Bitcoin application for managing and securing your funds for the long term. You can set up hot wallets for day-to-day spending or create digital vaults for deep cold storage. They also offer assisted multisig options as well as inheritance planning. And on top of that, Keeper boasts a long list of support for Bitcoin hardware, longer than I've seen for any other mobile application. You can check them out today by searching Bitcoin Keeper in your app store or heading to bitcoinkeeper.app. So I'm back on our Braiins Pool account. We don't yet see any movement on the hash rate here. And this can take a few minutes to begin to kick in. So if you don't see anything right away on Braiins Pool, do not worry. It takes a bit of time. But in the meantime, we can set up our Lightning wallet to receive payouts. So we're going to go up to the top where it says funds. I'm going to click on that. And now, as I said, I already previously had a Bitcoin account. That's an on-chain address. I don't want to be receiving payment. Well, I won't really build up much of a balance to justify probably getting on-chain payments. Much better to get Lightning payments. So we're going to go up to the top right. I'm going to click on Add New Account. And so I'm going to call this account Speed because I'm going to use Speed Wallet. Add New Account. Okay, perfect. Now, we're going to click on this and we're going to set up our payout rule. So it says we recommend you set up payouts to receive your rewards regularly. Let's set that up. Okay, so we have two tabs here, on-chain or Lightning payout. We're going to be used Lightning. Now, if you do want an on-chain payout wallet, you would click on this. We don't have one right now, but we could also set up a brand new one, whatever we like. But we're going to click Lightning payout. Now we need a Lightning address, and I want to show you something cool. I have it set right in my browser right here, but I have Speed Wallet. and it just sits in my browser. It's also a mobile app, and it's super easy to use, and it gives you your own custom Lightning address. You don't need to worry about any special setup here. It's pretty much just download and go and choose what you like. So right here, I previously set it up. By the way, if you want to learn about these guys, there is a link in the show notes where you can not only watch the tutorial, but also go ahead and download if you're looking at using speed in this setup. So I'm just going to copy right here where it says my Lightning address. Boom. I'm going to now paste that right here. Easy. And then this is the best part. When you have a Lightning address, when you're mining and you're getting Lightning payouts, basically if you get a cut of a block, no matter what, it's going to go to your Lightning wallet because the threshold value is 1 sat. You can change that if you don't want it to be a single sat coming through, but if it's a Lightning wallet, it doesn't really matter, right? So I'm just going to leave it as 1 sat, and then if we hit a block, I'd like to see that pop into my wallet. Otherwise, you could set it to, I don't know, 1,000 sats or 10,000 sats if you want it to be a little bit more of an exciting payout when it builds up. But anyways, I'm going to hit I understand that using the wrong Lightning address will result in a permanent loss of rewards sent to this address. So make sure it's yours that you're sending to. You can send to others, but if you want those sats, then make sure you send it to your own. I'm going to hit confirm changes and then ask for my password for Braiins Pool. I'm going to authenticate. And then it will send me an email confirmation, which will have me click on confirm, and then it will bump me back here. So we'll just jump ahead to after I've done that. So here's that email, by the way, Bitcoin wallet change request, and it says, hey, there's a new financial account called Speed. It goes to this blanked out Lightning address. If you confirm the change, click this button, and boom, it bumps me back to here. Now we can see our payout settings are right here, threshold of 1 sat going to my speed.app personalized Lightning address. So that's all great. I'm all set. I can go back to my mining dashboard and hey, we see some movement. We see things are happening, and we can see that over the past 5 minutes, of course, I don't think it's been running a full 5 minutes, but that is our current hash rate over the past 5 minutes. And that will go up in the coming, 5 to 10 minutes as it normalizes and we see what we expect our hash rate to be on a regular basis. So we'll just jump ahead a little bit and we'll kind of let this thing hash away, and we'll kind of see what our dashboard begins to look like as we've been using the actual device. Fast forward, we have been running our Braiins Mini Miner for a day now. I just kind of let it on its own, let it do its thing. And so let's take a look at first Braiins OS. Let's see what's been going on there. And so again, you can see we've got our steady hash rate up top. We have our steady temperature down below, which we can again zero in on and see our normal average hash rate and temperature, which is well below, again, where we need to worry. It's not anywhere near a dangerous temperature. Over here on the right-hand side, we can see that our real hash rate is just over 1.1 terahash per second. Temperature sitting around 67 degrees Celsius. Efficiency is around 36 watts per terahash. Power usage usually is right around 40 watts. So think, your average light bulb now. Pool status is alive. Tuner status is stable. And the license and everything, it just lets us know regarding the Braiins Mini Miner has 0% dev fee. And we can see our fans running at 37%. We can see more of that all down below. And then if I scroll up a little bit, just above my head here, you can see the hash rate over the past minute, the past 15 minutes, the past 24 hours. Of course, it's been a little less than a day. So as it was booting up and we weren't hashing as much, it's a little bit less on average. But by tomorrow, that'll be pretty much in line with the 1.1 terahash here. And that's pretty much it. So that's running just fine. Let's jump over to Braiins Pool and see what's been going on there. So we'll go back to our dashboard first. Okay, so 5-minute hash rate has us clocked at 1.291 terahash per second. Our worker is working. You can see kind of like the ups and downs of our hash rate. So, the highest I've seen here is 1.485, and then the lowest, other than when we first started up, it might dip down to, again, 887 gigahash per second, but it fluctuates is kind of the main messaging here. Again, it gives us an average hash rate over the past hour versus the past 24 hours. If I go to individual workers, I can see, again, everything's kind of running just fine. Again, gives us a 5-minute, a 1 hour, and a 1 day. And let's see here, monitoring. Okay, rewards. This is where we want to take a look at. So this is cool. You can see, obviously, this is these spikes back here early on. These are space heaters. When I was running my space heater, which has quite a bit more hash rate, and also was a built-up payout that then went to a Lightning wallet. So that's why you're seeing a bit of a spike there. But nonetheless, you can see little spikes in payout recently. Okay, and so let's see here. So today's mining rewards, 43 sats. Nice. Yesterday's total reward, 17 sats. And then it shows an all-time reward. Of course, this is over all of my workers, so previous ones that I was using for demos with Braiins Pool. And so it shows that we had yesterday's reward, 17 sats. And our payout, we configured it to go to our speed wallet. So did we get that? Let's go and take a look. Because again, if we go to our wallet up here, we don't see anything actively sitting in a wallet waiting to pay out. And so that means we must have received a payout. In fact, we can see that in history here. We can go to our payout account, speed, and oh, look at that. Okay. Payout in Lightning. So we see we got our reward the other day, and then we got a payout in Lightning to our speed wallet. This is specifically for the speed account. So let's just check that. It's right in our browser. We'll go here and we'll go to history, and lo and behold, 17 sats received. I guess this morning at 3:08 a.m. my time, but there we go. We got a 17 sat payout for the partial day that we were hashing directly into our Lightning wallet. We didn't have to do a thing. It's right there. I can use it. I can spend it. I can do as I see fit with it. But it's all accessible right there within my browser or on my mobile phone. I can open up Speed Wallet, and again, of course, that balance will be sitting right there. We can see again next payout in 19 hours, and yeah, so we are currently, again, if I go to rewards, looks like around 43 sats plus whatever we hash for the rest of the day. Yeah, fantastic. So now what I do want to do though, we can switch back to this as we see fit. But what I want to do is I want to go and learn how to solo mine. Now, by the way, if you go and you switch your miner to solo mining, you can go ahead and you can request a payout. And so where you would see that, you just go click on your speed account. If there's an account balance, then what will happen is, again, it'll auto pay out at the end of a day, even if your miner's switched off. But if it is sitting there, you can go ahead and hit request payout. But it should trigger as long as there's more than one sat sitting there, which is the minimum, then you will receive a payout directly to your Lightning wallet, even if you disconnect your miner. So yeah, we are going to go ahead. This is great. We're able to see payouts directly to our own Lightning wallet. But what if we just kind of want to roll the dice? We want to solo mine. We want to go it alone and effectively have a forever lottery ticket where we won't get payouts, unless we hit a block, at which point we would get quite a large payout. Let's take a look at how to go about doing that. Welcome to solo.ckpool.org, where you can mine entirely solo, meaning that you are no longer joining in with a large group of people, all contributing hash rate, and then hoping that one of you gets a block. And if you do, which is more likely as a group, you divvy up the rewards accordingly based on who contributed how much hash rate. This instead is you going it alone, nobody else with you. Very unlikely that you will hit a block, but if you do, it's effectively a lottery ticket. You take the entire block reward, which at the time of recording this video is 3.125 Bitcoin, plus any transaction fees that happened within that block of transactions. And so, that can be very exciting if you're looking at this as, well, I don't care if I get a few sats every single day. This is more of a learning tool for me, and I wouldn't mind having that forever lotto ticket sitting on a shelf there humming away, then yeah, this may be for you. And so I should say that you don't get to keep the entire block reward. Solo.ckpool, which is just one example of solo mining pool, is a 2% fee. So they'll take 2% of whatever the rewards are for that block if you hit a block. Otherwise, you don't pay anything. Okay, and so here it says, all you're going to do is you're going to point your miner to that URL. And actually, it's down here. This is more accurate. That's what you want to point your miner to, as we did with Braiins Pool previously. And then the username is a little bit different. The username is an on-chain Bitcoin address, which you can grab from any Bitcoin wallet. Just make sure you keep that Bitcoin wallet in case you ever hit a block. So the username would be a Bitcoin address, and then dot whatever you want to call the worker. So in Braiins OS, we had it listed as our username was BTC sessions because we had like an actual login, and you can get payouts at certain intervals and so on. But the idea is they custody the funds until at which time you withdraw them. This doesn't have with CK Pool. The second that block hits, it goes directly to your own address with a 2% split to theirs. Okay, so your username is your Bitcoin address, and then the worker name would come after the Bitcoin address dot. We'll call it BMM again, but whatever you want to label your miner. And then, of course, you can set a password. So let's see what that looks like in practice. Let's go over to our Braiins dashboard. We're going to go to configuration. And this is our current setup for Braiins Pool. Okay, so we have what they told us to paste in. We have our username and worker name, and then password was just password. So let's swap that out for this solo pool, solo CK Pool info. So as I said, we're going to grab this. We'll start with stratum all the way up to the number, which is a port number. And I'll go and I'll paste that in. Okay, then take a look. This is Sparrow Wallet, but this could be any Bitcoin wallet that has on-chain addresses. If you don't know Sparrow Wallet, but you do want to learn about it, there's a link down below to a tutorial. But nonetheless, I'm just going to hit receive, and we'll just call this CK Pool for the address, just so I know if suddenly I get 3 Bitcoin where it came from. And I'll copy that Bitcoin address. I'm going to change out just to the part for the username. I'm going to keep .bmm at the end. So paste that in. There we go. I'm going to leave password as password. I click anywhere on the screen. Changes are saved. So now that's it. I am mining on solo.ckpool.org. Now, how do I know I'm mining on solo.ckpool.org? Well, a couple things will happen. Number one is if I go back to my Braiins Pool on my dashboard, I should see my hash rate take a dive momentarily, where it just kind of drops off to nothing. So, and the worker status will just go dead. It will take a couple of minutes for that to happen, but I can already see my hash rate has started dropping off. Like it's the lowest I've seen it since we started. Okay, so So that's a good sign. That means it looks like I'm not hashing with Braiins anymore. But how do I check that I am hashing with CK Pool? Well, solo.ckpool.org currently only displays minimal user and worker information. To access user statistics, enter your Bitcoin address below. And so, of course, I could grab that here by copying it. But if that gets buried and I'm using the wallet for other things, I can go into my configuration here and just copy that Bitcoin address. And I think I didn't copy the dot BMM, but we'll see. Anyways, we'll paste it in here. Yeah, no, I don't see anything at the end. Okay, so I'll just hit enter. Okay, so it gives us a hash rate. Okay, so we have a hash rate over 1 minute of 608 gigahash, hash rate over 5 minutes, hash rate over 1 hour, and it's just kind of estimating. And then, yeah, you can see there's one worker, shares. So it gives us a very bare bones set of information saying, yes, indeed, you're mining with Solo CK Pool. And it appears to be working just fine. And yeah, so that's it. You can plunk in your Bitcoin address here on this website, hit it, and it's not as obviously as pretty as using your dashboard, but it definitely does the trick, and that's really all you need. So solo.ckpool.org. Try it one more time. And again, same thing. And it's changing. 1.23 terahash is now my 1 minute hash rate. So it's kind of back up to where it was over the past minute. And I'm now hashing, solo mining on solo.ckpool. I don't need to do anything else. I can go back to my dashboard and I can see that, yes, indeed, I am hashing. Temperature is still the same. Everything is still working just fine. And I'm starting to get that data flowing in now that things have changed. We're happy, we're hashing, we're solo mining, and we've got a forever lottery ticket sitting on our shelf. So just some final thoughts here in and around Braiins Mini Miner. Number one, super easy to operate. Again, there's not much to do. You plug it into your router, you plug it into the wall. You go to the IP address that's listed there on any computer on your home network. You get your dashboard. Again, you choose whether you want to mine solo, if you want payouts directly to a Lightning wallet. Braiins Pool is an example. CK Solo Pool is another example for solo mining. You make your choice. You can look up other options for where you want to mine with if you're choosing a pool or going solo. But you know, the lesson is kind of the same. Either it's going to a Lightning wallet, or if you hit a block solo mining, it's going to an on-chain wallet that you control. Of course, I'm going to say it again, make sure you maintain control of the keys to that on-chain wallet. If you're solo mining, you don't want to forget about it, hit a block, and then it goes to some address that you no longer have the keys to. That would be very upsetting, I'm certain. But other than that, yeah, pretty simple. It's a lot of just kind of copy and paste, and you can monitor things, and it's a fun learning experience. Now, in terms of devices, there's lots of different devices that you can kind of hobbyist mine with. Something like this, again, I won't say specific prices here because I know that by the time I make this, things can fluctuate. There's going to be new versions. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. So if you're curious, hit the website, which will be in the links below. You can kind of see what it's going for. Other items out there that you can mine with, just so people are aware, in terms of the hobbyist stuff, there's things like the Bitaxe, the Nerdaxe, the Nerd Miner. There's all these different kind of like little devices. I also built a space heater, which you may be able to see this red thing back just below the mic there. I made that out of an old S9 miner, and it's got a 3D printed enclosure. And so that one actually does heat my office in the winter. It at least gives me what I would get out of a nice little space heater. And that's another way to kind of be hashing without breaking the bank, especially if you're in the city. But you guys already know, I've already said it, but don't expect this as a money-making opportunity. Use it as an opportunity to learn about how Bitcoin mining works and perhaps decentralize the hash rate to places where you can actually use your own block templates and it's not kind of controlled by the big conglomerates. And perhaps have a nice little lottery ticket sitting there as well. But I enjoyed this. I thought it was great. The device itself is really cool looking. I like that you can change the clock face to whatever you want. You guys saw that in the settings. I went with the nerd setup because I like seeing all the different things on the face there. But of course, you can configure that as you see fit. There is a newer device, as I mentioned, coming out. This is the 100. The 101 will have Wi-Fi and some more features, and I think some more efficiency in and around how much wattage you're using versus how much hash power you're getting. But again, the goal here isn't to be efficient and making money. It's to learn. So with that, I would love to hear your thoughts on the mini miner here. Let me know what you like, what you don't, if you're using it, what your experience is in the comments down below. And I look forward to hearing your responses. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please do like, subscribe, share, all those things. They help a ton getting this content in front of more eyeballs. All of the stuff that we mentioned, whether it be wallets, whether it be websites, whether it be different tutorials on different miners, they're all linked down below for you to check out. If you want to help the show in another way, you can hit up the previously mentioned sponsors in the show notes down below. And if you've been perusing the channel through tutorials like this and you've hit a snag, you need some additional help, you love some one-on-one attention, then I encourage you to reach out to my team over at bitcoinmentor.io. I've assembled an incredible group of Bitcoin educators that are ready and willing to guide you through whatever it may be: wallets, hardware, multisig, lightning, running a node, running a home miner like this, and far beyond. You can check them out. You can book a free 15-minute session to discuss what you're looking to learn, and if it all lines up, then you can move ahead with your private one-on-one mentor sessions. Anyways, with that, I am out. Have yourselves a wonderful day or evening, wherever you may be. I'll see you guys next time for your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.